up. I gotta get yours up now.
What are we talking about? Winging it today?
No. I got some stuff. We're not winging it.
In 1987, the jury found him guilty of raping 13-year-old Tiffany Eaton, his last known victim.
Alright, next thing is your thing. Alright, let me get that up.
We've got numbers for you on deaths versus vaccines.
Federal health officials say vaccines prevented at least 330,000 COVID deaths in U.S. seniors last year. A Health and Human Services report says the decrease in hospitalizations saved more than $16 billion in medical costs. It shows hospitalizations and deaths went down 12 and 15%, respectively, as vaccines went up 10%. From the USA Radio News Phoenix Bureau, I'm Tim Berg.
Bring it up a little so that I don't drop anything here.
Finding great candidates.
Good morning, everybody.
Well, trying to
Here we
find
go.
a needle in a haystack. Sure,
Looks good.
You can post your job to some job board.
Looks
but then
good.
All you can do is hope the right person comes along,
Please.
which is why you should try ZipRecruiter.
Got
for
my
free
iced coffee
at
this morning.
ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates.
Got my iced coffee,
It's powerful technology
and it's
identifies
40 degrees
their
outside.
experience and actively invites them to apply to your job.
Anyway.
Qualify candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now,
Actually, it
you
might
can
be
try
colder than
ZipRecruiter for free.
40
That's
degrees
right,
outside.
Free. Just go
Feels
to
like it's not late.
exclusive web
Yeah,
address.
no.
High 30s.
It was 40 last night.
ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It dropped.
ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Christine Barrett was inside her family's Northport home during Hurricane Ian when one of her kids started yelling that water was coming up from the shower, that it started coming in from outside the house. Eventually, the family was forced to climb on top of their kitchen cabinets. They put water wings on their 1-year-old and were rescued the next day by boat. After the floodwaters had finally gone down, Barrett and her family were cleaning out the damp and muddy house. On the front lawn lay chairs, a dresser, couch cushions, flooring planks, and a pile of damp drywall. Similar scenes played out across the block as residents tried to clear out the soggy mess before mold set in.
Here we go.
An actor who's accused Kevin Spacey of making a sexual advance on him as a 14-year-old recounted the episode for a New York City jury on Friday, testifying he felt helpless when Spacey climbed on top of him in bed. "I was frozen," Anthony Rapp said on the second day of a civil trial in Manhattan. "I was pinned underneath him. I didn't know what to do." In a halting voice, Rapp testified that then 26-year-old Spacey had invited him to a party at his Upper East Side apartment when both actors were starring on Broadway in 1986. He said after he wandered into a bedroom to watch TV and get away from the adults, an intoxicated-looking Spacey joined him after the other guests had left. Rapp, now 50, came forward with the accusation in 2017 when he was the first among others who largely shut down Spacey's career with multiple claims of inappropriate touching or sexual advances. For USA Radio News, I'm Tony Maruso.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. When the prospect of divorce becomes a reality, you need a partner that you can count on. If you're a man in this situation, consider contacting Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men navigate complex legal matters for 30 years.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firms online at CordellCordell.com. No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers. Online at CordellCordell.com. CordellCordell.com.
305, enter, disclaimer.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and do not express the views of WVDF ownership or Hometown Talk Radio. Content aired on all programs are those of the host and their guests. Hey, Joey, what's happening? I mean, what's happening in Middleboro and surrounding towns? It's time for the Middleboro Week in Review with your host, Joey Driscoll. Stay tuned for news, Middleboro news, here on AM 1530 WVBF. Hey, Joey, what's happening?
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Middleboro in review. It is the 9th of October, 2022, and I'm going to say good morning to Dawn.
Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, Dawn. How are you this
Not
morning?
bad. Good morning. A little crispy, a little frost on the pumpkin this morning, huh?
Exactly. We got our, believe we got our first frost last night. It was very cold. It's right now in the 30s. And, just, looking at some of the, stuff going on with sports. We're going to be talking about that in just a second. I'm just getting up some sports today. Yeah, it is very cold outside, and we're going to go to the weather right now. In Middleboro, it is 33 degrees outside currently. A high of 63 today, so we will pick up some temperature here. 30 degrees of temperature. It'll be a nice sunny day today. 66 tomorrow. Tuesday, 66 degrees, and we should be getting into the 70s on Wednesday. So, a little bit of, now that we got our first frost, now that any warm weather coming up, we can officially term that as Indian summer. So we got our first frost, and hopefully we have some warm weather here in the next couple of weeks. Taunton, 34 degrees, a high of 63 today. A high of 65 tomorrow. No rain in the forecast for the first part of the week in Taunton or in Middleboro. Driscoll, Texas, 71 degrees currently. 87 today, 89 tomorrow. And getting towards mid-October, and we're still seeing lower 90s for highs in Driscoll, Texas. So that's pretty cool there. Driscoll, North Dakota, 40 degrees outside currently. A high of 62 today, a high of 73 tomorrow. No rain in the forecast for the entire week in Driscoll, North Dakota. Some pretty cool weather. Towards the end of the week, could be seeing some below freezing temperatures. Temperatures for lows in the 20s in Driscoll, North Dakota coming up. Not in the not too distant future. Anyway, we have a lot of sports going on in the MLB. The wild card round of the American League and National League playoffs is underway. Most of the series have been decided. The Seattle Mariners are moving on. They beat the Blue Jays 2-0. They beat the Blue Jays last night 10-9 in what a lot of people are saying is one of the best comebacks in a playoff game in recent memory in the MLB. Huge comeback, 8-1. That's how much the Blue Jays were leading going into the 6th inning. And then a comeback by the Seattle Mariners secured that win and secured the Mariners a spot in the next round. And also the Mets won Game 2, 7-3. They now will play Game 3 of that series with the Padres to move on to the next round. The winner of that game will move on to the next round. Padres and Mets tonight, 7:07 p.m. And the Phillies are moving on for the first time since 2011 in a playoff series. And that's a big deal, too. The Phillies beat the Cardinals 2-0. And they beat the Cardinals 2-0 in the series. And the Guardians defeated the Rays and are moving on to the next round as well. So some pretty big defeats for the playoffs in the first round there. Couple of big upsets in the first round. The NFL starts a little early this morning because there are two teams playing in London, Don. That is pretty interesting, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they do that every year. How long have they been doing that? 10 years now?
Oh, yeah, definitely. A while.
All that?
A while, yes. The NFL used to have a league in Europe called NFL Europa. Unfortunately, it ceased operations in the mid-2000s or so. But they did have a league, the NFL. And it was a pretty interesting league as well. So the Giants and the Packers will be playing in London this morning, 9:30 a.m. our time start. It would be a 2:30 British start time. British time start, 2:30 p.m. British time, 9:30 Eastern our time, and 6:30 a.m. Pacific time. So anyone who wants to watch that game, I'm sure it'll be on TV. It'll probably be on NFL Network, I would assume.
You can watch that game with your Cheerios.
Yeah.
And your cereal and your toast and
yeah. Yes.
English muffins.
It's not every day you get an early morning NFL game, or an NFL game that's not in the States.
Right after the Three Stooges, right? Put that on.
The Patriots also have a game today against the Lions, and that's a 1 o'clock start. And the Middleboro Sabres football team defeated Norwell. They defeated Norwell. I am 99% sure the score was 35-0. I did check it out on their live stream that they did the other day. I believe it was 35-0, the final. For that one. So Middleboro defeats Norwell. So that is good news as well. And in a game that you heard live on WVBF, Taunton lost to Franklin. A tough loss to Franklin in league play, I believe it was. I believe it was league play, the Hockomock Kelly Rec Hockomock League. I'm not exactly sure the name of the league. Anyone who knows the name of the league, give me a call. 508-822-1106 is the number. I know they changed around the leagues a little bit. So, yeah. So, Don.
Yes.
When we return from commercial break, we're going to talk about fall foliage and some great fall train rides to take to see said fall foliage. So I know, Don, you know a lot about different train routes that someone could take to maximize said viewing of the fall foliage. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the best places to visit if you want to see fall foliage as well, because October is peak fall foliage month for the most part. There is a lot of the changing of the leaves here around this area as well. I've seen it just driving down the road this morning. So it is definitely in full force. So we'll be talking about that out of our next break. But let's take our first commercial break here on WVBF 1530 AM, 99.7 FM. You're listening to Middleboro in Review. I'm Joey Driscoll. I am joined by Don, as always. 99% of the time. Sometimes Don is away, but that is rare. But 99.9% of the time is me and Don on Middleboro in Review. Also, today, October 9th, 2022, is John Lennon's birthday. He would have been 82 today. And also, Sean Lennon's birthday. He is 47 today. wanted to just mention that as well. All right, so let's take a commercial break. You're listening to Middleboro Review on WVBF 1530 AM, 99.7 FM. We will be right back. Here we go.
Do you remember the show, what the name of the show you saw with Chachi?
John Lennon, A Day in His Life.
Yeah, talk about that. Well, we saw that last week, and then I'd push the Regent thing, maybe do it later, or I'll definitely plug it. I think it was 5 o'clock or something.
No. Yeah, I'll figure that out.
Combat Veteran Motorcycle Association is an association of combat veterans from all branches of the United States Armed Forces who ride motorcycles as a hobby. Our mission is to support those who have defended our country in
Best New England train
Veteran care
rides.
facilities provide a warm meal, clothing, shelter, and guidance, or simply to say thank you and welcome home. We have members from nearly all 50 states and living abroad. Many members continue to serve in our armed forces, with several serving in combat areas now. We sponsor and or participate in many motorcycle-related charity events each year, and as a non-profit organization, donate to various veteran care facilities and veteran charities. To learn more about the Combat Veteran Motorcycle Association and how you can join or support, please visit
36, enter 136. I don't know why it does not
Hi, this is
do
Martha
that sometimes.
Flippin,
Okay.
your host for Medicare Moment with Martha. Each week, we
Fall
present the latest
foliage
information on
tours.
health, legal,
Or fall
and lifestyle
foliage
issues
drives.
that affect you and your family. It's
It's gonna be the same
fascinating,
thing.
fast-paced,
It's
and
gonna
fun
be
as we explore all aspects of the
yeah,
Medicare
there we go.
maze.
Perfect.
So join me for Medicare Moment with Martha, Saturday mornings at 8 and Sunday mornings at 9 on AM 1530 and 99.7 FM WVBF, your hometown radio station.
Spark Street Auto Supply, located at 48 Spark Street,
What's good?
in Massachusetts.
Sounds good. Everything is good. All right.
Complete auto service for your car. They are a direct repair shop for all major insurance companies.
I'm gonna log into my Gmail here.
583-1495. They're open Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5.
223.
8 to 4 on Fridays. Call them today. You will not be disappointed. 508-583-1495.
It's the Hockamock Kelly Wreck. I think that's the name of the league Taunton plays in.
Oh.
It's some of the names. I don't know. It's confusing, some of the names. Anyway, they did lose.
And anyway, Taunton did. 1530 Taunton, Middleboro, and on the internet at hometowntalkradio.com.
Good stuff. Alright. That goes back up. Three, 2, 1, and 0. And we are back as I turn down the music here. There we go. Music is turned down. And Don's mic is back on. We always want to make sure that Don's mic is on.
That's not by design.
Sometimes we shut it off here on Middleboro in review. Anyway, Dawn, it's fall. That means fall foliage.
Yes.
And we have a couple of different things we want to talk about in regards to that. First of all, the best train routes in New England. And I'll talk about some of the ones here that are good for fall and to see some really good foliage. First off, Essex Steam Train, Don.
Yes. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, it was. It's in Essex, Connecticut, right on the Connecticut River. I think it's one of the only steam engines in New England that I know of. And there's something about a steam whistle running through the valley. It's something like most people's ears have not heard living in our lifetime, because a lot of people a lot older might have heard steam in the valleys with the trains when they were phasing out steam in the late 50s, early 60s. It was all diesel by then. But to hear that whistle in the valley, especially the Connecticut River Valley, which is one of the most beautiful spots that I ever found, in my opinion. It runs on the western shore of the Connecticut River Valley. It starts in Essex, goes up to a place called East Haddam. East Haddam.
East Haddam, yeah.
Right, and East Haddam has an old opera house. It's called the Goodspeed Opera House, which is right across the river. And that was built in 1879, and there's a nice restaurant connected to it, and they have boat rides. But the Essex Steam gives you a boat ride too. You go up to a certain point. I'm not sure how far we took it. I don't think we went up to East Haddam, but we were just a little bit under that. And then there was the dock.
Yep.
And then we went up the river a little bit, went as far as Gillette Castle. William Gillette, if anyone knows who he is, he's the author of Sherlock Holmes. The big castle on the Connecticut River called Gillette Castle. Now it's a state park. But the ride's really nice. It's slow though, but it's really nice. It goes along the Connecticut River, and it's really nice. And I think they have the steam engines. They have one from 1989, which came from China, because into the 80s, China was using steam trains all the way up to the 80s and early 90s. So, and they have an old one from 1926, and I think those are the two that they run primarily, and I think there's another one they have there. But I mean, you want to go on a scenic foliage ride. That's nice.
And another one we want to mention. A couple that we want to mention. Lakeshore Limited. That's another good one. Take a ride on this train from Boston through the Berkshires and towards the Finger Lakes region of New York, which is a beautiful area of New York. One of many beautiful areas in New York. The Finger Lakes, the Catskill Mountains. New York is just a beautiful state, and this is also a train that will take you to Chicago as well. The final destination of this particular train is Chicago, so that is definitely a beautiful ride as well. Also, Mount Washington Cog Railway. The Cog Railway calls itself one of the world's great rail adventures. And also, we have the Vermonter as well. So there are many different train routes that you can take in New England. And definitely this is the time to do it because, again, fall foliage is out there. And with these train rides, you'll be able to definitely do some fall foliage sightseeing. Speaking of fall foliage, I want to mention a couple of spots where you could see some fall foliage if you don't want to take the train, if you want to drive. The Mohawk Trail, which is a Greenfield to Williamstown, Massachusetts. This is a 60-mile-long Mohawk Trail, or Route 2, which starts in Greenfield and ends at the New York border. Native Americans originally used this path to travel between the Hudson and Connecticut River valleys. And in today's day of age, the Mohawk Trail has become popular for fall foliage sightseers. Don, you ever been
Oh yeah,
in that area?
I discovered that, and there's a town called Florida, Mass. And we all
Yes.
get out and get pictures. I've been to Florida. We
Yes.
went to Florida. So
Yes.
it's just east of North Adams. And that road is really nice because it goes through some parts of Savoy State Park and along the Deerfield River. And it's really a scenic ride. And then you get to the hairpin turn on Mount Wickham. Mount Wickham is the highest point on Route 2, and then you have the hairpin turn over in Savoy. And then you go down to the valley into North Adams, which is a cool little town, North Adams. If you've never been there, it's something to check out. And then you move along to Williamstown. So that is a beautiful ride. The whole Route 2 ride is nice. It's 2 lanes until you get up to Templeton, Mass, just west of Gaga. And it's a 2-lane highway, limited access highway, but it's 2-lane with a yellow center in the middle. And then when you get to the town of Irving, then it becomes windy and more like a country road. And then right before you hit Irving, you run along the Deerfield River, and it's really nice. It flanks. I'm not sure if that's the Deerfield River. I know Deerfield River is a little further west than Charlemont. I'm not sure the river that Irving goes through. I'm not quite clear, but it's one of the. I think it's one of my favorites, and you can get off the beaten path, and there's all these little towns. You get something to eat, and you can go check out the Hoosick Tunnel, which is one of the oldest rail tunnels in the United States. Goes through the Hoosick Range. It's like 4.5 miles, and you go to the eastern the eastern side, and then there's a Bear Swamp project, which is a big hydro dam. They have like a little visitor center there. They can talk about that. Then you roll into the town of Rowe, Mass, and then onto Reedsville, Vermont. So it's really, you can get off the beaten path and go get yourself lost there for the day, and you'd be so happy. You'd end up parts of Vermont, New York, even parts of New Hampshire.
Another one we want to mention, and I know Don has traveled to this area, the Kangamangas Highway, Don.
That's everyone goes there. That's just the best scenic ride. That's really nice. It goes from Lincoln to Conway Center. I think it's like 30-something miles, 32 miles. But there's another road called Bear Swamp Mountain Road, which takes you to the town of Bartlett, which is like, I don't know, maybe if you were coming from the Lincoln side heading east, maybe it's like 18 miles, and that's like 11. And that's the other road that heads out, takes you to Bartlett, New Hampshire, which is a sleepy little. And then if you hook a left and you head up north, Route 302 to Crawford Notch, well, that's a really nice ride. And you were talking trains earlier, the Conway Scenic Railroad runs a train up to a place called Fabian, which is north of Crawford Notch, and they turn around and they run a diesel train, but they run high up on the mountains, and there's a couple trestles they have, but they rebuilt them, I don't know, about maybe 20 years ago. But there's one that sticks out. It's called Frankenstein Trestle, and it's way up there. And I rode that once. I really liked it, but it's slow. So if you like going slow, that's fine. You can, but you got mountain views like nobody's business. And I think you see the front of the historic Mount Washington Hotel up there too. And they swap the trains around, they head south. But for my money, as far as if I was going to go for a train ride today, I'd take the Vermont, I'd take Amtrak.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
You're moving a lot faster, you see a lot much territory, you're going on a I mean, I'm not knocking the tour, I love the tourist railroads too, but that's what they are, tourist railroads.
Yeah.
You got to drive to that point. I just like going... you got to drive to the point, and then they do the round trip, and you still have back at the same spot. I know you eventually head back in the same spot, but
Yep.
I wouldn't mind like leaving from Boston and heading out to Vermont and going up that way. Go up to St. Albans,
Yes.
taking the Vermonter up there. That's a ride. And actually, I think that train originates in D.C.
That's a long ride.
That's a long ride, but
Yeah.
you want to make sure you. And I think they do it that way. I think Amtrak sets the schedule where you are going to Vermont during the daylight hours.
Yes.
Because it's not much of a foliage ride when you run it if you're running there through 10 at night.
No.
So I'm not sure what the schedule is, but I watch a rail fan video. This guy's called Retired Rail Fan. He's out in Long Island, New York, and he did that trip, and he was able to most of it during the day. But that's the Vermonter. That's if I was going to pick one, it would be the Vermonter, and it'd be a 2-day trip. But if you don't have the time, then you have those other ones. You got the Conway Scenic. You have there's a few out in the Berkshires. They're everywhere. I mean, you even got Edinburgh Railroad, which is close here.
And you have local areas here where you can go and see
Yeah.
some foliage too.
Yeah.
Just driving down the road, you see a lot of really good foliage.
And I think the Providence Worcester line has a Christmas train. I think they did before the COVID hit. I'm not sure if they're going to redo that or not. But, I mean, you can always go online and just search around and look for train rides. And that was pretty good because that line runs for Providence. I'm not sure how far they go up, but that runs up to Worcester, and that runs up the Blackstone River, which is pretty nice, too. That's a lot of history on the Blackstone River, the corridor up there, the canal.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the first canals. I mean, that whole area was like the first industrial area in the United States was pretty much Woonsocket, Providence, all those towns, because that was one of the first rivers that was run by mill power and ran the factories, and that a lot of the beginning of this country was based around these areas, these little mill towns,
Yeah.
Lowell, Lawrence, Haverhill. I mean, this area built the United States almost. I mean, these areas were thriving before New York was even anything.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about this more in the coming weeks. Again, fall foliage. You got a short amount of time for sightseeing in the fall foliage for sure. So you have a couple of weeks. So everything that we mentioned definitely a recommendation to go and check out if you want to maximize your fall foliage sightseeing. And also, like I mentioned as well, even if you want to go locally, just driving down the road, you'll be able to see some pretty nice fall foliage as well as the leaves are starting to turn colors.
Route 105 is one of the most scenic.
Yes.
In Middleboro.
Absolutely.
To Lakefield, Rochester, out to Marion. That's a really beautiful ride.
Very beautiful.
And one more thing on the trains. There's another route too. And if you wanted to get crazy and had a few days, I think the schedule allows you to do this too. But I'm pretty sure the Lakeshore Limited leaves Boston, I think around 11-ish. I'm pretty sure that's the schedule. And then you can run your daylight hours pretty much to that situation. And then if you stayed in Albany, and then you took the train from Albany down to New York via the Hudson River,
yeah,
that's probably one of the most scenic rides in the country. And if not, I haven't been all over the country, so I can't say, but it's what I've seen in my lifetime. But if you're running south and you're looking west over the river, you're looking across the river and you're looking at all that foliage going at 90 miles an hour. And you get to New York, and then you just take the northeast train back to Boston. And then, so, I mean, you could do something like that and do a loop.
Yeah.
You need 2 days to do that, but I think you can pull it off all in daylight hours. You'd have to stay in Albany. You'd have to get a hotel in Albany or something. But Albany's fun. You can go across the bridge and check out Albany. They have the State House, which is pretty cool. It's really, I'm not sure if they do tours there anymore. That's something you have to check out with COVID. You know, they closed everything with COVID, so I mean that's something. But I remember going on the 40th story. Me, you, and Jay. We went to Albany. We took the train. We did that.
Yeah.
But we did it the other way.
Yeah.
We went down to New York. We went up, and then we took the train home, which was fine. but it got dark.
Yeah.
I think it left at 5 o'clock, but we did it in the middle of summer, so we had till like
We had
8:30
till
to-
9.
Yeah, we
8
had
or 9.
right. We did it in the middle of
So,
summer.
yeah.
So I mean, it's lights out 6:30 now.
Yes.
So I mean, I still think you might be able to pull it off. But anybody want to do an adventure like that, spend some time in Albany. So
we have a phone call.
we had a
and
phone call. Nice.
Let me unhook my thing here and let me see if I can get to it in time. Good morning, caller. You're on Middleboro in Review. Good morning. Absolutely, yes.
You need the time. You can't do
Definitely.
it half piecemeal. I mean, if you got to go on a trip, you need to make it a couple days because that's how memorable it is. I mean, the drive to a certain. I mean, if you have the time and you really want to do it, you drive to a certain tourist destination, ride the train. But it seems like you're on the train for 2 hours. I want to be on the train all day. That's me. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Where is that? Is that the one in Lincoln or that's? Oh yeah. 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 I don't, you know what? I don't think I've ever been on that one. And I thought it was called something. I thought it was called the Hobo Line or something like that, but maybe that's somewhere else. I know there's so many of them out.
I'm not sure if I've ever heard of it.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, we were talking about the. No, I get it, but we were talking about they're thinking about bringing the ski train back or the train to North Conway via Portland, and I know that route runs up to Westbrook and up to those communities to Maine, and then it would split and head up to Guilford, and the other one would head up to the Crawford Notch, but it'd be good to see that run. I think it's going to run up to Canada, and where's it going to end? Berlin or something like that, up in way up.
Dude,
Right?
they're bringing back a couple of different to Canada routes via train in the not so distant future.
No, just plain trains. I mean, just plain regular trains. I know we recently in August went to Brunswick, Maine on the Down Easter for the first time, and it splits into another line to get to the station in Portland and backs out. And that would be the line, I think, that runs the Westbrook line. I guess that's the line that runs to Conway, because I was talking to a conductor, and that's it. And they just add from there. So you got the towns in front of it, but I think it's I don't know 70 miles to Conway, I think, from Portland. So that was the line. And that was the ski train line, the main ski train line. And I'm sure there was other Boston and Maine heading up towards the old Lowell line, commuter line going up to Nashua and Manchester, and so many lines that were disconnected. But I think they have the right of ways, and they can put all these trains back in and get people off the roads. I think that would be great. Yeah, I do too. Ah, great. All right, you too.
You're welcome. Thank you. Have a great rest of your morning. All right, and that'll do it for this segment. I want to take a quick commercial break. I want to thank the caller for calling
thank the
in.
caller. It's good. You know what? There is something magic about a train. And
Absolutely.
When Amtrak did that advertising blitz in the 70s, they were right, because it's it's not the journey. I mean, it's not the destination. It's the journey.
It's not the destination. It's the journey. Exactly, 100%. All right, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we are gonna mention blood drives
and Beatles
yes.
shows.
Blood drives and Beatles coming up here on Middleboro in Review. It is October 9th, 2022. I'm Joey Driscoll, joined by Don. We will be right back. You're listening to WVBF 1530 AM, 99.7 FM. We will be right back. Come on. There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, you got this. All his information on Trappies.
Yeah,
definitely plug that.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that up. I'm getting that up right now.
Yeah, we talked about last week how the show was, and maybe give it a retrospective.
Breakfast with the Beatles. Is what am I doing here? Okay, 131.
I got my COVID-19 vaccination, and here's why. This isn't about gimmicks or sentiment or what commercial I like. This is about facts. COVID-19 vaccines are
5 o'clock.
and effective.
5 today. I will. I'll just mention that.
Do a recap on last week.
Well, it's not much I can say because it's all. I don't want to give it all away, and plus it's private stuff. I don't want people to go there and actually be, surprised and.
Well, just tell them we went to the one last week and we had a really good time. The show was great.
Yeah.
And, that's all. You don't have to tell them. You don't have to give any details.
Yeah, I don't want to give them details.
No.
Good.
I wasn't suggesting
You don't want to do that.
No, I wasn't suggesting that at all.
Okay. Still 8 seconds left in the thing. Shouldn't stop the music there. Alright, come on. Here we go.
Don't forget to play,
I won't.
William Shea Post.
Nope, I haven't. It's gonna be next. Next.
Coffee with Tony from 9 to 11. So Coffee with Tony, Tuesday 9 to 12, Thursdays 9 to 11 here on AM 1530.
We'll do the Beatles thing next, then Blood Drives, then Today in History. I think might have time to do something else. I don't know.
Williams Trading Post is now open for their fall season. At Williams Trading Post, you can find
I love this. I love this music. It's very good.
And much more.
What was that one I heard that Chris did for the football game? It was just as cheesy as this. I think it was for.
There's some cheesy ads on here, yes, but that's
what was it?
What happens?
Who was it that you guys do during the football game?
What?
No, some ads that sponsor the football game.
Oh, it's just background noise.
No, but I mean, who were your sponsors for the football game? Remember?
There's too many to remember. I don't know. Ted Peetnick is one. I think Taunton Federal Credit Union's one.
50 states and living abroad.
I don't know.
Many
I don't know them
members
all.
continue to serve in armed
There's a lot. True Keys is one.
Oh wow, a lot of.
We sponsor and or
True Keys is one.
in many motorcycle-related charity events each year. And as a non-profit organization,
We used to have Dunkin'
donate to
Donuts.
veteran care facilities and veteran charities. So
Sponsor.
learn more about the Combat Veteran Motorcycle
The football
Association
games.
and how you can join or support. Please visit CVMA.
They sponsored the football games last season, I think, or the season before. I don't know. I think it was the season before. I think it was 2019 that they sponsored.
Residents of the towns of Middleboro,
Yeah.
Lakeville, Carver, and Rochester. Our base of operations is in the lower level of the parish hall.
Might have been 20.
Directly across the street.
I seem to remember it was here in this studio when I heard those ads. So 2021. Probably.
You guys change his ad soon?
Yeah. I asked Ray to send me an email of some stuff, some things to maybe put into a new ad. I would do it. I told him I would do it.
For more information, go to svdb.Middleboro.org. May the good Lord bless you and keep you safe.
And 750. And welcome back. Sorry, turn down the music. There we go. Music is turned down. And Dawn's mic is back on, and we're good to roll for our last segment here. I just want to mention, today, October 9th, 2022, there will be an event at Regent Theater in Arlington, Massachusetts, hosted by Chachi LaPrette and Eric Taros. Chachi LaPrette, who we've had on several times on the show here. It's going to be called A Day in His Life, John Lennon. And today is John Lennon's birthday.
And if anyone don't know the name Chachi LaPrette, you might know his show, Breakfast with the Beatles. It's been on for the last 30 years between other stations in the Boston area. It's well known. I'm sure he's a household name. And we did see that show in Rhode Island, East Greenwich, Rhode Island, at the Odeum.
The Odeum. And what a great show. What a nice presentation they put on. There was quite a few people there. It was quite a few people there. And, I think there was about 60 plus, yeah?
No, it was a little more than that.
No, more than that? Really?
Throw numbers in. Just say there's a lot of people there. That's all. I mean, I don't know. Did you get a head count?
No, I think there was like...
I'd say 70.
60, 70 plus,
yeah. I'd say 70.
I mean, that's right around the number, yeah.
No, it could be more.
It could be more, yes.
I'm saying it's a good... it was a good presentation.
But yeah, there were a lot of people there. That's what we mean. That's what we're saying.
It was a great presentation, and it's very, very interesting. If you're a Beatles fan, you have to go see these shows. He has another one in Danbury, right, Joey? Next week.
Yes, the 16th.
16th. But today's something special because it's John Lennon's 82nd birthday.
It would have been his 82nd
yeah,
birthday, yes.
That's what I meant to say. And his son Julian's 47th.
Yes, it birthday? Is. Son Julian's 47th birthday.
We're listening to something a little odd this morning. You played something odd for me this morning with not Julian Lennon, Sean Lennon.
Yes, there's this band that Sean Lennon was a part of with Les Claypool, and maybe someone out there knows who Les Claypool is, but he is the singer of Primus, which very semi-popular 90s kind of, I don't know how to describe the band, I really don't. Very unique. A unique band, that's how I'll describe it.
It was cutting edge. It was kind of a little off the wall cutting edge, but I think that's how John was, especially in his solo stuff.
Yes.
When he reached out, as far as what I know, what I've listened to, and I'm not an expert here, but what John Lennon has done with the solo stuff was definitely little different than what Paul McCartney was doing and what a lot of people are doing. And I was surprised. You took me surprised playing that. So you always pull something out of your hat every week.
I do.
That's really interesting, and it's Sean Lennon's birthday too, which is pretty remarkable that he had a son on his birthday. So that's almost a miracle by itself. Anyway,
Yeah.
I mean, you can pick all these days, but you pick the day, December 9th, 1975. And John Lennon's birthday was December 9th, 1940.
So the band's name is the Claypool Lennon Delirium. Very, again, unique. Don't know how to describe them. They're very unique and definitely worth a listen for sure.
Right.
So yes, tonight.
I'm sorry.
Tonight, A Day in His Life, John Lennon at the Regent Theater in Arlington. Chachi LaPrette and Eric Toros, starting at 5 p.m.
Yeah, if you're in the Lennon or the Beatles, check this show out.
Definitely,
it's
yes.
Awesome. And we were able to go to the Regent last June, and he had Chachi and Eric had a show. Maybe I'm Amazed. It was a celebration of Paul McCartney's birthday, because Paul McCartney had turned 80.
Yes.
Last June. So that was, anybody who was at that show, the presentation is pretty much the same for John Lennon. But it's remarkable. It really is. And John Lennon touched a lot of people, in my opinion. John Lennon was, I don't know, he was different. John Lennon was a person who he just didn't take the avenue of the norm. He had his own beliefs and he had his own spirit. And it's just too bad he was taken from us at an early age. And Chachi made a point that, he was, he didn't live. He was 40. And he was just 40. He would have been 41 if he...
Yeah.
No, he turned 40. I'm sorry. He was,
yeah.
He died in December. I'm sorry. But happy birthday, John Lennon, and Sean Lennon too.
And want to mention quick programming note. Tomorrow is a Columbus Day or Indigenous Peoples Day. Tomorrow, and I will be on the news tomorrow. Tomorrow, October 10th, 2022, I'll be doing the news, filling in for Chris Keach, who is off tomorrow. And 2 hours of the morning wake-up news tomorrow with me, Joey Driscoll. So I just wanted to mention that. Also, quick programming update for today. After us, it is Bread of Life with Pastor Ortez Vandross. 8:30, The Rosary. With Bread of Life, you are going to have a great half hour of great messages every single week. He always has a great message every single week. So that's at 8:30, The Rosary. 9 o'clock, Medicare Moment with Martha. Great program. Informative program about Medicare. Anyone approaching the age of 65. This is definitely the program to check out if you want information about Medicare, or if you are already enrolled in Medicare and you just want information. It's also a good show for that as well. So that's at 9. 9:30 is Keys of the Kingdom with Pastor Naomi Burton. Again, another great half hour of sometimes music and sometimes a message, a music and message attached to it as well. Just a great half hour there. 10 o'clock, we will have the Talking Information Center. A great hour of programming there. And then 11 o'clock, we'll start our second part of our Sunday schedule with Musical Odyssey with Ed Sutka. Great hour of music. It's a continuation of the program you heard last week. So it's part 2 of a program you heard last week. And noon to 2, Sounds of the Emerald Isle with Jim Larkin returns after a 1-week hiatus, because last week we had a live remote. So it's back this week. Jim is back this week. So 12 o'clock. 2 o'clock, 2 to 3, Stand Up Strong with Ed Miller and Bishop Tony Branch. That will end your Sunday programming. So our Today in History, real quick, because we are quickly running out of time here. I just want to make sure we get this going here. So we have a couple of Today in Histories. The first one, 1635, Roger Williams is banished from the Massachusetts Bay Colony after religious and policy disagreements. He goes on to found the state of Rhode Island. 1834, the opening of the Dublin and Kingston Railway, the first public railway on the island of Ireland. And in 1992, the Peekskill meteorite, a 27.7 pound meteorite, crashed into a parked car in Peekskill, New York. 1940, this is birthdays now. 1940, John Lennon, English singer-songwriter, guitarist, and producer, 1/4 of the Beatles. 1967, Eddie Guerrero, American wrestler, also taken from us way too soon. He lost his life after a heart attack in 2005. He was only in his 40s, I think. And Sean Lennon, his birthday today. American singer-songwriter, guitarist, producer, and actor. He is 47 today. His birthday is today. So that shall do it for the show today. Hope everyone enjoyed today's program. We will be back next week, October the 16th, 2022, with another great edition of Middleboro in Review. And I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their Sunday. Hope everyone enjoys some great morning NFL football from across the pond on TV this morning. 9:30. Again, 9:30 start for that one. And Patriots are on at 1 o'clock against the Lions. So hope everyone enjoys the rest of the day. And have a great week. And we'll be back next Sunday.
Have a great week, everyone.
Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great rest of your week.